Alright, this is the video coming out of Osmo Pocket 3, and this is very nice in terms of video quality. And also, while you are in a selfie mode, it's gonna automatically track your movement, your head movement, or the movement you have. It's gonna track me anywhere I go. And if you don't wanna keep yourself in a center position, you can change it just by using the joystick. If you go a little bit, say on this position, now if I move, it's always gonna keep me in that lower third part of the image, and which is very nice to have. You always don't have to have in the dead center position, so it's gonna be really good to have like this. How the image is looking like in the backlit scenario like this, let me turn around, and this is pretty good. Let me walk a little bit, and the stabilization is really good because it has a mechanical gimbal, and there is not a problem for this camera for tracking, because I'm in a fresh tracking right now, and it's pretty good. It tracks me very well. At least it is much better than the tracking available in Pocket 2 and also Pocket 1, because this is the Active Track 6.0, and it is really good for tracking. Since it has a very nice tracking capabilities, you can use it as your personal camera man, because wherever you go, it's gonna track you very well. And right now I'm going away from the camera and facing towards the lake over there, and I'm not facing towards the camera, and how well it is tracking me, let's see. All right, and now I'm going back to my car, and it's probably gonna track me over here as well. And let's see if it's gonna keep tracking me if I go behind this car. Now I'm out of the frame, and I'm going to come back into the frame again, and let's see if it's gonna catch me again or not. It seems like it has lost me. Let me go back to the camera, and let's see it's gonna track me back again or not. So the tracking is good but not perfect. So as you see, that if I go behind the obstacles or behind any subject that gonna hide my face, it's gonna lose the tracking. But regardless of that, if you are in open space and if there is a small obstacle, then the tracking is fine. It's really good. There is not a problem with that. Running test, how well it's gonna keep me in the center, and how is the gimbal performance, and also see the backlit, how it's gonna expose me. Right now actually I'm using DJI D-Log M and 10-bit color. So how is it looking? I hope this is looking pretty good, right? All right, let's see. Now I'm using the built-in camera lens. Let me use the wide angle for a second. This is the regular field of view. Now I have a wide angle lens over here, and it is gonna make this field of view to up to 15 mm. Let's check it out. Oh yeah, so it is now 15 mm equivalent to the full frame thumb, and now you can see a lot of environment, and this is good enough for vlogging. In fact, even without the wide angle lens attached to it, I believe the focal length is wide enough for the vlogging scenario. And it is so joy to vlog with this camera because it is very lightweight. You're not going to have a muscle pain or fatigue, something like that. In terms of focal length, you have like two focal lengths in this camera, that is 15 mm with the wide angle attached. Right now I'm attaching a wide angle lens in this camera, but if you take out of that wide angle lens from the camera, then you will get the 20 mm. But there is another way to get other focal lengths as well, that is zooming in. Let me take out the wide angle lens. So this is 15 right now, right? So this is 20. Let me recenter the gimbal. Yeah, this is 20 mm. And now if I go ahead and zoom just a little bit, so this is like 40 mm, because this is a 2x zoom, and 2x of 20 is 40 mm. And surprisingly, the zoom quality, I mean the picture quality while you are zooming and picture quality is not that bad, and I'm surprisingly pleased with the picture quality of the zoom as well, because it's not that bad, you know. Even if you want to zoom for like say for 1.5 time or 1.5 time here, it is good, right? So you can get a versatile kind of footage out of this small tiny camera. So you are not limited by only using two wide angle lens and the built-in lens. So you can sometimes zoom in and still get the good quality footage out of this camera, which is a bonus point to have. Let's talk about some of the cons of this camera. While there is very less con with this camera, but none of the camera is perfect. So the cons that I think with this camera have is probably the pricing, because this is a little bit expensive than the previous version. But having said that, it is not exactly the con. It's kind of value proposition. Like if you are getting wireless mic and if you are getting like all the necessary thing that you need, you are getting gimbal out of this camera. So think about that. You know, any other like Sony cameras or Canon cameras that have 1-inch sensor like ZV-1, so that camera comes with just the camera. You will not get any gimbal. If you want to get gimbal and smooth footage, then you have to buy another camera. So I mean another equipment like a gimbal. So that's gonna add off. So pricing is not as con as it's supposed to be. So it's, you know, it's a well balanced price. But for some people that might be con. Why I think this is one of the best camera for vlogging, and why this might be, you know, one of the king for vlogging, and this camera might change the era of vlogging, because you are getting 1-inch sensor, right? So it is good enough for low light, and it has a gimbal on itself. So you don't have to rely on the electronic stabilization, which gonna ruin the shot in the low light scenario. So also the form factor is very small and pocketable. You can carry it anywhere and you can use it in any scenario. And not only that, the footage coming out of this camera is incredible, and you can mix and match this footage with the professional cameras. I'm not even talking about mirrorless. I'm talking about you can you know, attach some footage in between the, you know, the professional video cameras like RAID, like other Canon cinema cameras or FX3, FX6, because the 10-bit color that you are getting out of this camera is phenomenal, and you can achieve any kind of color grading using the footage coming out of this camera. So you can match the footage with any professional cameras. So it's gonna be a very nice tool. Beside just a vlogging camera, you can use it as any kind of camera, any kind of scenario. And think about, you don't have to carry a big camera, right? With the lens, it's gonna be heavy, and if you want a smooth footage out of those system, you need to buy a gimbal separately. And think about the quality mic, so that's gonna add a lot of things. And also the battery life in this camera is, I believe, better than any mirrorless cameras or the small size pocket size cameras like Canon G7X Mark II and 3, Sony ZV-1 and things like that, you know. So basically you are getting more out of this camera than any other camera that we currently have in the market. That means the value proposition of this camera is a huge. Having a good battery life, having a gimbal attached with your lens, having 1-inch sensor, and also having a D-Log 10-bit footage, HLG 10-bit, even a normal color profile is phenomenal out of this camera. If you don't wanna, you know, grade in, if you are not good at grading, then you can totally use the normal color profile, and that is really, really nice coming out of this camera. And I'll show you how it's gonna look like. Here you go, folks. This is the normal picture profile coming out of this camera, and the color is beautiful. You know, even if you don't want a grade, and if you want to just use the normal color profile, and the color profile coming out of this camera is really nice. And you can see, you know, behind me there are a lot of colors, like in the land over there and the green bushes over there, so it's pretty good. So color profile in this camera, the normal color profile is so good that you even don't have to grade all the footage if you don't want to. This is the low light performance of Pocket 3. How is it looking? So far it's looking good. This is just the street light. So far it's good, right? I hope it is looking good. Now I'm directly under the street light. I think the low light is pretty good in this camera, you know. Regarding the sensor, it's just a 1-inch sensor, but it has a f2 aperture lens. Now this is very dimly lit area, and I just have some street light down here, just like these few street lights and nothing else. Now this is the dedicated low light mode of Pocket 3. Right now I'm using a low light mode, and how it is compared to the normal mode. Is it any better, or is it any good or better than the normal mode, or it just looks alike? So let me know in the comment below. Alright, for the sake of comparison, I have in my left is Action 3 and I have on my right is Osmo Pocket 3. So this is the low light comparison between these two cameras, and I hope it is clearly seen that the Pocket 3 has a better low light than Action 3. Thank you very much for watching this video, and if you have any questions about Osmo Pocket 3, please write a comment down below and I will try to answer that. Alright, I will see you in the next video. Thank you. You have a good day.